Yo, what's going on, people? We are back again. It's the Clark Brothers.
What up? What up? What
Mm,
up?
And we're here with another edition of the breakdown. This is for the Idol, season 1, episode 3, and it is called Daybreak.
Daybreak, and this is the third episode. Aired on June 18th.
Right?
All right,
Just aired last Sunday.
and this is where I believe this episode is where everything starts to form into shape, and you basically see that the Tedros finally may have his grasp, in deep into Jocelyn, and he's going to be able. This is what he wanted to do. He's going to be able to gain control, but you know, it comes on. Basically when we left off from episode 2, they were singing, the weird song.
The weird song. He's already suggested that he moved in.
Moved
So at
in.
this point, he's moved in.
That he moved
So
in.
if you notice, in the first two episodes, Leah is opening the big curtains to wake Jocelyn up. That's her job. That's part of her job.
Yep.
She puts the big curtains open, lets the sun in to wake up Jocelyn. In this episode, Tedros is doing it. He is
Yep.
now officially moved in, and he's opening the blinds, saying, "Come on, Angel, get up. We about to go shopping."
Yeah,
You
going
know,
shopping. That's
so
it. So that's already right out the gate. You notice the change.
it's a change right out
And
the gate. Significant
and
change. That's
Leah's driving. They're going. Leah's driving. These two are in the back seat, making out, having sex.
yeah,
He's giving her oral sex. She's
yeah,
giving him oral sex. It's
yeah.
like,
And
and
they're
Leah
just it's a
is
drop top. They're driving in a
yeah,
drop top. Well, what is that? I think it was a Rolls Royce or something like that she's driving in.
yeah, something like
Uh Drop top, luxury car, just doing the most in the back seat, all types of crazy. They're just having fun at this point. She's just having the time of her life with this guy.
doing
They
all these things that pushing the envelope,
right. Not
private, public, compared to doing all this stuff in public.
right.
Like not
Not
really caring about what people say or who
yeah.
sees them or anything.
And this is the first time in the episode that you kind of see uh her fans like this, really see how famous that she's portrayed.
Right. He takes her, and I believe that, thinking in hindsight, I'm believing that Tedros had this set up where he's going to
Probably
take her to a place. He probably alerted
people. Yeah.
the people that she's going to be coming,
She
because
was
they were
coming.
all sitting there waiting.
Yep.
For, I believe he alerted the
Yep.
people. We may even see that later on
Yep.
in the series. I believe that
Definitely.
he had that all set up.
Me
Probably
too.
had his people call back and tell the paparazzi
Yeah.
that she's going to be showing up there. So when they're doing that, it kind of like gives her a glimpse of, "Oh, I still do got it. People still love me.
You'll love
What the
me.
hell
Yeah.
are they talking about?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they're all, oh my God, so like that. That's why I think it was set up.
I think so too. I think he set that up so he can, look at her and say, see, look at, he's giving that confidence back to her,
Yeah.
All of this stuff, comes from, things like the 48 laws of power, which his character utilizes a lot in this series. We'll get to him as they come along, but I've already picked out about 3 or 4 that he's used throughout this series already. And people who may not know the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, that is, a book of basically what that is, it tells you all these different laws of how you can, gain power on your whatever opposer. So, it's kind of like in the same vein as Art of War, you know, but a little more broken down, simpler version of the Art of War. So,
Right.
so yeah,
So this episode 3, called Daybreak, and it reads, as Tedros inserts himself into Jocelyn's life by offering input on her wardrobe and collaborators Leah brings her growing concerns to Haim and Destiny when her team suddenly begins to soften towards Tedros, Jocelyn becomes even more emotionally tethered to him. So what they're meaning by that is you see immediately as they're shopping and they're doing these things in the car, um, Leah is calling around and she's talking to the managers. And she's basically telling them he's taken over the house. Jocelyn seems like he's brainwashed her. She's trying to explain. And they're like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean taking over the house? What do you mean brainwashed her?" And she's trying to say, you have to see it. I mean, it's like she's like under a spell. Like he's taken over. She basically does everything he says.
Brainwash
Taking
her.
over the house.
Yeah.
So
She starts
they're
using words
outside
like
her place.
brainwash. She starts using words
Yeah,
like
brainwash.
brainwash. That's how you know that's all related to a cult.
Yeah, brainwash. He said, and she's saying they're waiting outside, and he's like, gun. He tells her gun. She gets him the gun, and she's like, they're not here. He's like, what do you mean they're not here? Oh, we're out shopping. And he's like, shopping? What do you mean shopping? He basically he's picking the clothes that he thinks she should wear, picking
Hmm.
her wardrobe. They're back there, messing around in the back. They're having sex in the back of the wardrobe,
Yeah.
room.
The dressing room, yeah.
Yeah, in the dressing room. And then he's telling people what you're looking at. He's yelling at the guy in the store, saying, "You're looking at my girl. Let me catch you looking at it again. And I'll break your face." Like, he's doing all this
All of
over
this,
the top stuff.
yeah.
But of course, she's sitting there impressed by
She's
it.
impressed
Like
by
she
it.
likes it that he's so possessive over me and jealous over me. He doesn't want guys looking at me, stuff like that. And then where it really takes the turn is he ends up, I guess, her nutritionist
Yeah.
is like patting on her stomach and telling her like certain muscles. She's sitting there giggling, laughing, enjoying it. He's at telling him, "Oh, you got to touch my girl so much," and tells him pretty much, did he smack him? He
Yeah, he
smacked that
smacked him.
dude,
He smacked the guy.
and that dude didn't do nothing back.
Yeah,
And
he
he
smacked.
goes and smacks the guy, says, "You shouldn't be get the f out of here." Oh, I didn't listen to my boss. So he goes over to Jocelyn and just kind of like motions her. Jocelyn comes over. Here's a guy that's been working with her for years. Comes
Mm-hmm.
over and says, "Oh, I don't really think this is a fit. So
Anymore.
I wish
Yeah.
you the best of luck."
Yeah.
Wow.
Fires the guy right on the spot.
Yeah.
And even in that same setting where Jocelyn's not around, he's telling Leah, I'm running the show now. Leah's
Yeah.
saying, I
He
want to
said,
check
"I
with
got to talk to
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn." And he says, "Hey, I told you, I'm running the show now."
Exactly.
So
So he's putting like using the fear tactic with her. You know,
yeah,
um, I mean, this guy is he is a pro. That's the bottom line. He
yeah,
knows exactly, and I mean, come on, this guy he comes across because he's so mysterious. He comes across as intimidating. You know,
right,
could even be when he because he can go from 0 to 100. He could be smiling and laughing, and then just cut his smile off and look real serious. So
right.
right there she is, Nick, not Nikki, Leah is, she's shook at this point. That's
Yeah,
why
she
she's,
should.
the way the episode comes, it's like all of these things are happening, and she's kind of talking to them throughout the day, you know.
Mhm.
So when they finally, get back, they finally pull up. You got Heim there, who basically is waiting with Destiny. They kind of like stall the Live Nation guy. Here's an important part, I think. It's very quick, but it's important. The Live Nation guy calls up and he's freaking out because he's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why did you kill that song? The sinner song
This
or
is the
whatever, the
only
world
song
class
that
sinner.
that was
Only-
the only
Right.
song that was selling.
Right. The only song that was selling tickets. Why would y'all kill that song? And he's just kind of brushes him off and gets him off the phone. But why that's so important is because we also see later on in the episodes that, like we said last episode, Nikki has replaced Jocelyn, at least for this song. We don't
Yeah,
know if they haven't dropped it from the label or anything yet, but they took that song that they spent so much money and time into, and they have slid Diane into that role.
she's there doing the routines and
Yeah.
everything.
She's doing the exact routine that's on the same exact set for the video, same directors, everything. And we know that when she auditioned Diane was singing the song World Class Center. She was singing the words
Yeah.
to it. So obviously she's done slid her in there, shot her as the lead for that. And I don't think Nikki's told any of them, to be honest with you. She definitely
No,
hasn't told
she I
Jennifer.
got something she's kind of doing on her own.
Doing that on her own. That's on like on the DL. They didn't even know that was going on. And I don't think Haim and Destiny know either, even though that guy just mentioned that. I don't think they really know what's going on because they probably
Mhm.
would have said something. You know.
Right.
So there it is. So then they meet, she introduced Tedros to them. They immediately take Tedros to like the balcony where they start talking. So it's Haim, Destiny, Tedros, and Jocelyn. They get
And
into the
they start interrogating them with the
yeah,
questions. Oh, where'd you go to school? Oh, how long
yeah,
you been out here?
right.
Things like that. And the
Meanwhile,
answers he's giving them,
they've
yeah, they've
already
done
done research
research.
on him. Yeah, they
Yeah, they
already
want
know
to see
what.
if he's going to tell them the right to be truthful.
Yeah.
They know he's from Hawaii and this that, and that. He does. He never mentions that.
Hmm.
And they're trying to also throw that out there to see how Johnson's going to respond. And they looking like, man, everything we say, she's defending him,
Yep.
asking us why we're interrogating them, asking them, this, that, and third. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So they can tell that he's already, as Leah said, he's already brainwashed her.
Hmm.
She's believing whatever she told her she's believing. So
Hmm.
Leah's sitting there. She's like, "Good, they're here." She's
Hmm.
thinking
They up
that
there
they're
reading
gonna
them the
air him
riot
out,
act. They're reading them the
right?
riot act.
Yeah, they think they're being the riot act.
Yeah.
But then when he mentions, "I got Mike Dean coming in," they're like, "Oh, Mike Dean. Wait
Yeah.
a minute now."
Right.
They're probably thinking this dude don't know Mike Dean. But when he says he
Yeah.
knows Mike Dean, and he
He
was like,
turns
"Okay,
to
I want
colorless.
3 hits." Then stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So he kind of puts them to the test. You don't know if they really believe him or not. Of course, they playing it off, but they put him to the test. Well, if that's the case, I bought her two
Three
weeks.
hits should be no
I
problem.
need 3 weeks and two. I need 3 hits in 2 weeks. And Mike Dean, as people may or may not know, he is playing himself. He will be in the next episode. He is a world class music producer. He's produced The Weeknd. He's produced Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Tupac, you name it. He's a legendary music industry producer in California, from California. And so obviously, if you're a music manager, you're like, what? You got Mike Dean coming in to work on this? That's exactly what we need. So
Right.
let's get it done. Get it to work. He says to her, look, I know you're having fun with this guy and all that, but can you focus with him? Is the question. She's saying, yes, I can. So now they're giving him the green light to work with her.
Mhm.
Write with her, work with her, whatever it is. And like you said, Leah thinks they're in there reading them the riot act, and then they come out and they're like, "Oh, I love this guy."
Love
You
this guy.
know,
And
now
then she's looking
yeah,
like,
she's like,
oh man.
"What?" She doesn't even wonder how this guy got out of this. But then they go into their car and they look at each other, and he's like, "Yeah, I believe our girl is in trouble because they know she's already gone. This guy's got her
Yep.
already." You know, so basically after that, then you see him. He starts making his way around. He's like I said, he's enforcing his power, where he then brings Xander up and talks to him. Almost does the same thing that they did to him. He brings
Right.
Xander to the balcony and he's talking to him, saying,
How'd
"Yo,
you get your job with
yeah,
her?
you're a terrible creative director." Xander agrees with him. Yeah, I agree. Well, why
I
you
agree.
agree with that? Well, because they don't let me do what I gotta do. He's basically saying, like I said in one of the previous episodes of previous videos, the creative director has become kind of like of a joke position. It's that position that you give your friend You got to give him some sort of title, right? You can't just be called friend, right? So find out what you can do. Okay, we'll make you the creative director, you know. And that's a running joke in the industry. People don't know that, but I mean, people in the industry know that. That's a running joke. Oh, he's my creative director. Everyone's called the creative director. So basically, he says, well, what would you do? There's a scene that they talk about too. He's asking the guy, well, what would you do if you had carte blanche, like you had full control? And the way he pronounces it, that's become news too. He says carte blanche. He says he pronounces it how it's spelled. And the guy's like, well, I would, what I would do, honestly, I'd take the viral picture of her with the jizz on her face, and I would make it her album cover. Might as well put it out there, embrace it, put it out there in people's faces. And he's like, I think that's a good idea. That's not a bad idea. So now, right out the gate, he is, he's winning, he's winning Xander over now already. you
Right.
know, because
He giving him an idea. Just met him. He giving him an idea,
yeah,
and he haven't had an idea from. He
hmm
hasn't been letting his none of his creativity stick out since he's
hmm
been with
yeah,
her.
with her,
And this
yeah,
guy's already saying, "I think that's a great idea."
yeah, I think it's a great
Now he
idea.
knows he could never suggest that with the other people.
Right. He could never suggest that they would kill him. So at that point, we then go into another scene where I think this is the scene where she was kind of talking with the background. What was that guy, Isaac, and the other people that's there? Because this is more people there too now. And
Yeah.
now you got Ramsey in there. She's in as herself. Ramsey is a self-taught, self-produced uh singer artist from Los Angeles, has a nice little following of her own, and she's in this show too. So
He,
then
he basically learns about the word yes. They're not
mhm,
supposed to say no.
you're not supposed to say no. It's all, everything is yes. There's no reason to say no. You can always find a way to say yes. No is a cop out. It's weak and stuff like that. She starts playing around with him, saying, "Oh, so you're gonna say yes to anything I say, ask you?" He's like, "Yeah, pretty much, yes." She tells him, "Go kiss Ramsey." Like she tells, making them kiss each other, stuff like that. Just trying to test it out, having fun, whatever. Then she says to him, "Well, would you kiss me if I ask you?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm not doing that." He's like, "Tedros would kill me." So just kind of once again letting you know that this guy has got a cult. That's the only thing I can say.
Because he goes to kiss Randy, but then he won't go kiss her. Even though
Yeah,
she's looking at, she a couple of times in this episode, she really looked like she was attracted to
yeah,
Isaac.
yeah, that's true. And right there, you know, Tedros has. We already said he's using multiple laws, out of the 48 laws of power. This whole family slash cult thing he's got going on is right out of the book. Law
Yeah.
number 27: play on people's needs to believe to create a cult like following. It's exactly, he's playing on their needs to believe. They want to believe that they can become these superstar artists. He's playing off those needs. He's telling them, I'm making you do these things because it's going to make you better. It's going to make you a star. It's going to do this. So he's playing off of their insecurities and their needs, and he's creating a cult like following, basically.
Right.
So, that's right out of the 48 laws of power. He's got more that we'll go into in a minute, but I mean, this dude has really kind of got a lock on everything already, and it's only been a few days. You figure like it's been a few days. It's not like it's 1 or 2 or 3 days, but it's been a few days since he's moved in and got his whole family in there. Now, he talking about he should move in. He done moved in the whole crew
Yep.
pretty much.
Pretty
I
much.
mean, she got the
They're
big
all
house.
sitting there. They're all sitting down having dinner
Dinner.
together, and
And this is exactly Once again, playing off the needs. He's playing off her needs. She has that need for a family, right?
Yeah.
So he's playing off of that by bringing a family into her life, letting her know that the so-called family you got around you don't even trust you. They don't even believe in you. Maybe you need to get a new team. So, he is in what he's really doing with Jocelyn is taking her out of one cult and bringing her into another. That's kind of like what he's doing because her first cult is the music industry, her team, the music industry itself, which in itself kind of goes like that. Bunch of yes men, people around you that you can't even don't even know if you could trust them. The Weekend speaks
Right.
on this in an interview with one of the magazines. It might have been Rolling Stone or whatever. He's saying, this happens all the time. He's like the worst thing that he said. One thing I hate about the music industry are yes men, people that are just there because you're paying them. So they're just saying whatever, letting you do whatever. They're not going to check you. They're not going to tell you, nah, that ain't it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly what Vander um, is.
Happened. Yeah, pretty much. And you find that out in this episode because you thought that I kind of felt that he might have been a little bit on Leah's side where it's like, yo, this dude is a little with it, but he kind of seemed like you find out in that scene, and I guess the big scene for this episode is the table scene where they're all there and Jocelyn is making a toast saying, I found my family, all types of stuff. And she's happy. She said she's never been this happy in a
Never
long
been this
time.
happy. It's my
Yeah.
new family. Like,
Right. And it's just like, whoa. So then they're
and
sitting
Leah's
down.
looking like, oh boy.
She's like, oh man. So they're all sitting down, talking about her career. And then, he brings up, Tedros brings up Xander's idea. Xander didn't want him to bring it up right away, but
Right, but he does.
he brings it up, brings it to the table, says, yo, and she's like, well, why would I do that? Leah's like, no, she shouldn't do that, and she said, why would I do that? I want my fans to take me serious. Like I want people to take my career seriously. So, and he's like, well, they get into this big banter back and forth argument of why she should do it. She should take control over it. It's already all over the internet anyway. Instead of people just looking at it and using it as a joke thing, it's kind of like put some respect on my name when he decides to make that into a
Yeah.
t-shirt. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Um own it, put it out there and use it. And they actually kind of make her like, I'll think about it, like whatever, but real important about this episode, you see him already, he's taken over the house, he's kind of influenced over everyone he's come in contact with in this episode. Okay, he's either exerting his power or just persuading them with his talk and his charm. And but throughout this episode, Josh has been kind of pushing back on him. A couple things she's like, hey, I like this guy, I'm really kind of falling for him, but she gotta still play the cat, not the cat and mouse, but the whole woman and male thing. And so she pushed back on him on some things, and he noticed it. Sitting there at the table, they're going back and forth, and he's like, yeah, well, this is, how do you know what it is, this and the other? And she's like, well, because I know the music bit, I've been in this business for 10 years. You don't. She said, I'm not new to the business, you are. you know and that kind of like, everyone's kind of taken aback by that. They're all kind of quiet at that point, except for Leah smiling, of course, like under her kind of smiling,
Yeah,
like, oh good,
she's happy. Oh,
she's
maybe
happy.
she's waking up,
Maybe she's waking
but
up,
she's not.
exactly. And she's like, no, I'm not new to the business, you are. And then he kind of says, oh, don't be rude. They kind of get into it, and then it goes into, he kind of just digs deeper into her trauma. He's saying, she talks about her mother, which she has spoke briefly to, I think in the previous episode with Chloe. about her mother a little bit. And then she really talks, it really digs. Now you don't really know much about her mother until this episode. It digs into the trauma of how her mother was. You would think that her mother was like this great person, the way she was so broken up by her
Right.
mother dying. But, her mother really was not that great of a person based on this. Her mother was very abusive to her. She was really the unfortunate, typical momager. She was
Mhm.
that
You hear about these stories with Michael
mhm,
Jackson
yep,
getting abused by his father.
right. You
Very
know,
abusive, trying to keep them serious.
yep,
God, you can't mess
yep,
up.
yeah.
So,
You look at it. You see it all the time. You look at even that show they had, Dance Moms, where everybody was, those moms were so obsessive with these girls with their dancing. And it's just the typical parent manager that pushes their child too hard, uses abuse and scare tactics and intimidation because they want to make sure that these people, they're saying they're doing it for their own good so they could be successful. You doing it for yourself
yeah,
so you could be successful. You're living your life through the child. It happens all the time with child stars in Hollywood, with actors, mainly with actors, but also with musicians, as we see. So countless people you can go on and use as examples for that. So pointing this out was very important, I think, in the episode. So she basically explains her trauma to, he makes her basically expose her trauma to the entire table, because she's like, I don't want to talk about it. And he's saying that, hey, uh you're gonna talk about it. I don't hide nothing from this. Is our family. We don't hide
you
anything.
don't hide it.
Right.
They digging in deep until she finally reveals that her mother used to abuse her
Yeah.
with a brush, and she's
Yeah.
crying, and you
Right.
know,
And then she admits that although she doesn't like the abuse, it did push her. She would use the punishment to push her through getting a song done, getting whatever, whatever she had to get done. And, Tedros immediately pounces on this opportunity to get at her, fully control her mentally. And he basically tells her, you still got the brush? Yeah, get it. Go get it. He tells her that after he once again puts Isaac to work and says, you know what? Maybe you should take Leah
take
to
Leah to
bed.
bed.
She
She
looks a little
looks a little
tired.
tired. He's running
Meanwhile,
the family now. She gets
yep,
right on up and goes.
he's running fast. Now she gets up and goes. Not, an important note is, they've got her sniffing coke now. So Isaac takes her to bed, and you don't see them no more for the rest of the episode. And that's when he gets her out the way. Xander's already pretty much in line,
He's
and
sitting there listening to him
yeah,
tell her go get the brush, and he was
yeah,
pretty much there
yeah,
when she brought the brush back.
right. And he had them all standing there looking and watching while she gets that brush. And this is obviously the most quote unquote controversial part of the episode, where he takes that brush and he tells her, whispers in her ear, this is going to hurt, but if you could push through the pain, it will be beautiful. Basically going to use her trauma to basically gain that control over where he takes the place of the mother, basically.
Yep. So she's
Because
pretty much
yeah,
exchanging one abuser for another abuser.
yep, yeah.
The mother for him.
Because what we know with the trauma is abusers, they don't know the difference between the love and the hate or the abuse. So of course she loves her mother. That's her mother, right? So, but she still, even though she didn't like the abuse, she kind of misses it because that's how she got through writer's block and whatever else she had, things that she was trying to do. She got results from it.
Right.
So, and that's what he does. He lays that on her. He starts to hit her. They do that scene where he basically starts hitting her with the brush. Then after he hits her, he basically
You see them in
he
the
yeah,
tub. He's like washing her,
right,
does her
right.
hair.
He
Now
takes care
we're
of her.
she's crying. We're all waiting to hear her. be like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. But
Yeah.
instead, she comes out and says, "Thank
Hmm.
you for taking care of me." So,
Yep.
and then that's how the episode ends. So you pretty much
Yep.
know now he is fully
He
full
is full.
aboard. He is her handler.
Yep.
He's taking care of her, and everything moving forward now is going to be
Hmm.
him managing her.
Him
So
managing her.
we're
So
going to see
now,
what happens.
right. With that being said, uh, out of the 48 laws of power, right there, law number 11: learn to keep people dependent on you. All right. She ends up, thank you for taking care of me. Know, it gets that, you know, other laws, law number 7, is pretty much he uses that. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Yeah, they all. If you notice, when she talks to them, they all give the credit to him. They don't, every day. Oh, you're really talented. They owe it all to him.
Yep.
That's how. That's how they. I mean, it's amazing that you're thinking to yourself, what? And then, of course, with Diane's character, law number 14: pose as a friend, work as a spy. He uses her to pose as the friend.
Move
That
as a
that
friend.
that gets it all, and she's working as a spy. She's like a double agent. They don't even know what's going on with her. So
Right.
all of that gets without him using that. That's pretty much the first law he used on that. Without him using that, uh, none of this gets kicked off because Diane is the spy. That's what she
Right.
is, posing as the friend. So it's some powerful stuff, what they're doing here. And if you really pay attention to it, you're like, this dude here, he's definitely a con man along with him being this cult leader. So, and that's pretty much the episode. I mean, at this point, we have to see where it goes from here, but it looks like we know where it's going. So you guys leave your comments down and below. Let us know what you think about what you thought about this episode,
About
Daybreak.
episode 3, what you think is going to happen going forward. We'll
Hmm.
probably be back later on in the week with our prediction video for
Yeah,
episode 4. And just let us know, man. Like, comment, subscribe,
yeah.
and anything you believe is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen with Diane going
Hmm.
forward with Tedros? Do you think this is going to be
Right.
successful with him and Jocelyn? What's going to
Yeah.
happen after that? You know,
Yeah. Exactly. We
what
do know
what
next.
song do you what do you think Live Nation's going to do? What's is
Right.
Jocelyn going to stay on? Do you think she'll go independent? Like, what do you think is going to
Yeah.
happen here?
And that's that, man. So we'll get at y'all next time. Y'all listen for our preview video previewing the 4th episode of this series. It's your boy, the Clark Brothers, Wes and Hev,
Yes, sir.
and you're listening to the breakdown. And we will get back at you next time. Peace.